Well, now we can stamp dicks everywhere. And the game has gotten immeasurably better. This is Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, developed by Insomniac Games and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. During a parade to honour Ratchet & Clank, Dr. Nefarious steals the Dimensionator, and in his attempts to find a dimension where he finally wins, he shatters the walls separating dimensions. Ratchet & Clank are hurled into an alternate dimension where Emperor Nefarious rules all. The two are separated, and Clank meets the alternate dimensions version of Ratchet, a female Lombax named Rivet. Ratchet is now searching for Clank while being mistaken for Rebellion member Rivet, and Clank has enlisted Rivet to recover the Dimensionator and fix the crumbling reality. Alternating between playing Ratchet or Rivet, you travel to different planets, completing challenges, battling enemies, or just blasting around on your jet boots for the laugh. The fun weapons the series is known for return here, including a grenade that turns enemies into topiary, or a gun that imprisons them in an ice cube. Weapons can be upgraded and will improve naturally through use. Each planet presents varied activities and challenges like aerial combat, a large open map, or a dimension-shifting mechanic. The game looks gorgeous and works as another great showcase for the PS5. The quick loading of very different content between areas and sometimes during levels is very impressive. While I had a lot of fun playing Rift Apart, one aspect I was disappointed with was that Ratchet and Rivet play exactly the same and have the same weaponry. They in fact share the same weapons, upgrades, and ammo as well. I think an opportunity to better differentiate the two characters was missed, and hopefully they can address this in the next entry. For a longer look, check out Foley Plays Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart for a bit, also on the channel. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart is exclusively on PS5. Strafe side to side. I'm too hard to hit. You suck. This is Chicory, A Colourful Tale, developed by Greg Lobanov and published by Finji. Chicory is a top-down adventure. You play an unnamed dog janitor working in the Wielder's Tower. The Wielder wields the brush, the source of all colour for this world. At the beginning of the game, your character is cleaning the tower when all colour suddenly disappears. You locate and seize the brush, and the Wielder is nowhere to be found. It is your task to restore colour to the world and beat back the corruption taking over. You control your character and the brush simultaneously and independently. The brush adds colour to the world and affects it in different ways. It can make new pathways, illuminate dark areas, and generally aid in traversal and puzzle solving. Much of the game is a series of laid-back puzzle and traversal challenges that can be taken at your own pace. Boss fights, however, are much faster paced and can introduce a lot of complexity when trying to move the brush into attack while moving your character away from harm at the same time. It is a fun challenge, but may prove frustrating and unwanted considering the pace of the rest of the game. Luckily, there are a wealth of options that allow you to tailor the experience to the level you want, from increasing your life to slowing down movement, allowing you more time to react. Outside of the main quest, there are a number of interesting side quests, but my favourite among them is being asked to recreate a masterpiece. You are given a piece of black and white art and asked to recreate it yourself in colour. Drawing with an analog stick is quite tricky, but is enjoyable to see how bad your own version turns out. Despite its fun and cute appearance, Chicory, A Colourful Tale features a lot of mental health trauma under its strong narrative. The characters you meet are dealing with depression, anxiety, imposter syndrome, perfectionism, and many more. The game is surprisingly touching at parts and has a much deeper narrative than I was expecting. For a longer look, check out Foley Plays Chicory, A Colourful Tale for a bit, also on the channel. Chicory, A Colourful Tale is available on PC, PS4, and PS5. expresses your personality perfectly. I... This is Overboard, developed and published by Inkle. Overboard is a reverse whodunit, where you play the murderer attempting to get away scot-free. You play Veronica Villensley on a ship voyage from England to USA. On the final leg of your journey, you push your husband overboard, killing him. Your task then is to spend the final day of the journey attempting to stave off suspicion until the ship finally reaches its destination and you get away with murder. The game plays like a choose-your-own adventure where you are presented with a number of obstacles to your freedom. Did you leave any evidence on the deck? Did anybody see you last night? Is anybody looking for your husband? Each obstacle can be tackled in a variety of ways. You could destroy the evidence, or disown it, or maybe use it to set up another traveller. You will gain information and learn the passenger schedule as you go. At the end of the day, your husband's absence can no longer be ignored and the passengers call a meeting. Depending on how much you were able to do and how well you kept your story straight, you may or may not get away with the deed. Failure sees you thrown in prison, and success sees you gain your freedom. But did you get the life insurance payout? Are you sure there are no loose ends? Either way, the game pulls a Groundhog Day and sends you back to the start of the day. And now you are armed with new information and can try to improve the outcome. Overboard is a good game for short bursts, but I feel it gets frustrating with longer sessions, especially if you can't figure out how to engineer an outcome. That being said, each run of the game is fairly short, and the game does offer hints and suggestions to highlight things you may not be aware of yet. For more on Overboard, check out Foley Plays Overboard for a bit, also on the channel. Overboard is available on PC and Nintendo Switch. This is Scarlet Nexus, developed and published by Bandai Namco. Scarlet Nexus is a brawler game set in the far future. You play Yuito or Kasane, new recruits to the OSF tasked with battling the Other threat, otherworldly creatures descending from an anomaly currently enveloping the planet. The OSF is made up of people with psychic gifts. Yuito and Kasane are both psychokinetic and can manipulate objects with their mind. Other members can create fire, teleport, duplicate themselves, and a number of other skills. Yuito and Kasane begin the story on the same side, but something happens during a mission that splits the OSF and sees each character on opposing sides. Both characters play similarly as they have the same psychic power, with variation in their melee ability. Yuito uses a sword while Kasane uses floating daggers. However, there is a difference between the party members that accompany each character. During combat, Yuito and Kasane can temporarily use the powers of other party members to enhance their attacks. Simple enhancements like applying a fire effect, or more complex ones like super armor and invisibility. As different party members accompany Yuito and Kasane, each character has access to different abilities and their gameplay can be quite different as a result. Yuito and Kasane each have their own story and you will have to play through both to get the full picture. Combat in Scarlet Nexus is satisfying, chaining together melee attacks and psychokinetic attacks while teaming up with party members to tackle tricky foes. Using your power to cover an enemy in oil and borrowing fire to set the enemy ablaze, or turning invisible to get the drop on them. Character upgrades can improve this further and allow you to have many powers active at once. One of the highlights for me is the handful of times Yuito and Kasane's stories intersect and you face off against the other team. Having to battle and counter other psychic powers is chaotic, but it is a great challenge and really pushes the combat to its limit. Outside of combat, you can improve your bond with your party members by giving them gifts or going on excursions together. These are fun character moments and are a nice break from the main scenario. Scarlet Nexus is a lot of fun and I've really enjoyed my time with it. One thing I would like to have seen is having your melee attacks change when you combine different powers. Each party member has their own unique weapon, and it would have been cool to be able to swap between weapons as well. Is this starting to sound like Devil May Cry? Yes it is. For a longer look, check out Foley Plays Scarlet Nexus for a bit, also on the channel. Scarlet Nexus is available on PC, PS4 and 5, and Xbox One and Xbox Series.
Looks like I got stronger again.
those were some of the games I played, released in June of 2021. Chicory, A Colourful Tale turned out to be a really interesting game. I really enjoyed the gameplay and just talking to all the different characters and knowing their story, all the different quirks, even just like background NPCs have a lot of different things going on. I think I'll be looking to show off that game on the channel and maybe in a longer LP or a stream or something like that. Overboard I'm still working my way through. I haven't quite got the perfect run just yet, but I'm slowly making progress and it's kind of fun to just find new things and new information you didn't know and go, oh, that's why it happened. Interesting. Scarlet Nexus is fantastic combat. I really, really like it. I like just changing up abilities and swapping powers on the fly and having to change your strategy on which enemy shows up, and it's just very fun and fast and it's really enjoyable. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart was a lot of fun, very technically accomplished. It's a very pretty game. It's definitely showing off the PS5 in its best light. I'm not super eager to go back to it exactly. I probably never will, unless I'm just showing off, here's how cool the PS5 is. But, you know, you've got Demon Souls for that, so I don't know. If you're a big fan of Ratchet and Clank, then yes, it's more of that. It's a very good entry in the series. Anyway, for the next video, we'll be looking at games released in July. So first up, we'll be looking at a game called Last Stop, which is a narrative game where you follow the intersecting stories of a couple of different characters while there is a alien invasion, I think, in London. I'm not entirely sure what the background is. All I know is it's heavy on the story and there's some intersecting stories and sci-fi nonsense, and that's kind of why I'm here for it. We'll also be looking at Necromunda, Hired Gun, which is a Doom knockoff, but with inside the Warhammer universe. I don't know, it looked schlocky and that's kind of why I wanted to look at it. Plus there's like a robo-dog partner or something. We'll also be looking at a game called Where the Heart Leads, which is a large branching story game where you're just going back over this character's life choices and what would happen if he had made different choices, and you kind of just, you know, butterfly effect to see how all the different things change and maybe his life would have been better or worse, that kind of thing. And then I'm not decided between two games. We'll either be looking at Neo, The World Ends With You, which is a sequel to the original The World Ends With You. It's a very slick, very polished JRPG looking game, and that's kind of the one I want to do, but it is also a very long game, so I might never finish it in time to do this video. I might have to do a follow-up on it. And if that's the case, I will probably instead look at The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, which is a repackaging of a bunch of games, a bunch of Ace Attorney games that were not released in the West due to Sherlock Holmes copyright things, and since he's no longer under copyright, they're able to release it now. So it'll be one or both. No, it definitely won't be both. It'll be one or the other of those two. I haven't decided yet. It really depends how quickly I can get through The World Ends With You, and I don't want to rush it, so yeah, I don't know. Elsewhere on the channel, we're continuing our Alan Wake LP. Also continuing to put out weekly news videos, so those will be continuing. Also be looking to start a streaming series. I haven't decided what game it will be just yet. I'm thinking Neo, but also Neo is very stressful. So I'm also thinking not that, and maybe something else. I've also been thinking Monster Hunter, but I don't know how well my internet will hold up to me both streaming and playing an online title at the same time. It may not hold well enough to do that, so I don't know what I'll be doing. Any suggestions though, please feel free to drop them to me. Anyway, that's it for the games of June 2021. Let me know what you guys thought, or any games I missed, or what you thought of these games. Give me a like, or a comment, or follow me on Twitter, or, you know, subscribe and all that jazz. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
Focus.
Alright! Use something big to break its outer shell. Use psychokinesis. The shell is broken. Give it everything you have.
Thanks, Navi.